Hello and welcome to Maddie Effect, the show about xenophilic lesbians across the stars. I'm ForceWave.
And I'm HubPie, and romancing Asari is the only acceptable option, unless you're into Quarians.
Fuck yeah!
Yeah, and if you can tell by the title, we actually decided to put our guest's name in the title because she's the one that asked us to play these games, or at least the first one for now. Introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Maddie, as the title suggests. I play BioWare games in my spare time, and I am an artist on the internet. That's literally all I have to say about it.
Be sure to say what your artist links are in case anyone wants commissions.
Oh, yes. My Tumblr name is Lombax Lombardi. That's where I'm usually hanging out on the internet.
By the way, fun fact, the original Spidey Hub art came from Maddie.
Yeah, it did. I have to commission her on something else at some point because I love giving you my money.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we're going to be doing a 3-part show talking about the critically acclaimed and occasionally controversial Mass Effect trilogy from BioWare.
And assuming we're still friends in a couple years, we'll come back and do an episode on Mass Effect, Please Love Us Again.
Yeah, so before we talk about Mass Effect more, or rather, Maddie talks about Mass Effect because she's going to be the primary driver of discussion for all 3 games in the trilogy. I just want to preface how I got into Mass Effect, because I've known about Mass Effect since the very first game. I used to be subscribed to Game Informer back in the day, and I remember in one of their issues they had an advertisement for Mass Effect, which was a male shepherd looking up on the sky in space. I don't remember what the tagline was, but I remember just that image sticking with me. I've heard about the Mass Effect 3 ending controversy, which we'll get to for Mass Effect 3, but Mass Effect was never on my radar until the Legendary Edition remasters came out fairly recently, and Maddie was very excited about it. She couldn't stop talking about it for at least, I don't know, the first 2 months when that was announced.
Mass Effect is near and dear to my heart. I was introduced to it right around when the controversy happened, and then I'm like, I might as well pick up these games for myself because I'm also a Dragon Age fan, which is also done by BioWare, and I love the series, I love the franchise, I love the characters. It's just, if you want to start anywhere, you start with Mass Effect in terms of BioWare products.
Yeah, and the remaster was coming out, and ForceWave was interested in that too. So you got the remaster, he got the remaster, and so I was like, well, it's cool that these two got this game. And then the co-host for our eventual Web of Spidertism podcast, just another fucking plug to our millions of shows, got the game. And then I felt peer pressured because I was like, shit, now I have to play it.
You got bottom into getting into another epic franchise.
It always seems to be me who's the bottom. Not voluntarily, though. I don't know why that always happens.
Is this not simpler? Is this not your most natural state? Or whatever Loki said.
My glorious purpose is to be anything but a bottom. I'm a switch. So yeah, Maddie peer pressured at least a half of our friend group to at least try Mass Effect. And of course, we have to start with the original game, which is going to segue us into the development of Mass Effect 1. So, Maddie, how did Mass Effect come to be?
Mass Effect began as a pitch from BioWare, and they really wanted to make something on the scope of Star Wars and literally anything that had to do with sci-fi back in the early 2000s. So we go into the ideas of the entire Mass Effect fields in themselves, which is why the title is called Mass Effect, because you use the fields to basically make the Mako go 50 feet in the fucking air.
I love our janky-ass space buggy.
And you know what? I heard they fixed that in the Legendary Edition.
Bullshit, I was able to scale mountains with that.
It's still janky as shit.
It's still bouncy, and we love the bouncy. We love the bouncy.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I'm glad it wasn't totally fixed, to whatever extent they fixed it. Because I love having one wheel drive on top of a small slope and then being completely tipped over as a result. That shit's hilarious to me.
Yes, it is. It is rather amazing that a 2007 jank is transferred into a 2021 video game.
And you know what? I heard that BioWare originally considered remaking Mass Effect 1, but instead they decided to just remaster the original, which is good because not everything needs to be remade, just touched up the original game a little bit. Not everything needs to be rebuilt from the ground up, especially because if you were to remake it, we would lose all that incredible Mako jank.
The jank in people's faces melting.
I like to think BioWare couldn't remake it because they lost a ton of money on Anthem.
Oof. Yeah, Anthem.
Yeah, but that's more of an EA thing than BioWare.
Yeah. Now, Mass Effect is considered by the fan base across all parts of the internet to be the spiritual successor to BioWare's first foray into sci-fi, which is KOTOR, also known as Knights of the Old Republic, which is famous in its own right. Most of the dialogue options and the wheel and stuff like that can be heavily lifted and inspired from KOTOR, literally the opening cutscene, and a particular opening cutscene in Mass Effect 2, but we'll get there when we get there.
Also, the voice of Kaden Alenko is in KOTOR.
Yes, Karth, which is funny because Karth is a romance option, so it's all connected. Big brain.
Let it be known that KOTOR is the one thing Maddie has over us when it comes to Star Wars knowledge. The only thing I know about KOTOR is that the Bantha bomb trick was used in Season 2 of The Mandalorian.
Yes. Fuck that dragon, by the way. Fuck that entire fucking fight, I hate it. Mass Effect got off the ground by essentially loads of work and through meshing of ideas from different inspirations from sci-fi culture. As I said, Star Wars, Star Trek, basically anything that has the word star in it.
Anything with space.
Space! And fun fact about Mass Effect, the dialogue wheel has literally been used in pretty much anything that is Western RPG related ever since. Also, EA and BioWare copyrighted the dialogue wheel. That is a thing that happened.
Fuck that. Fuck copywriting gameplay mechanics. Those shitheads behind the medium did the same thing.
I don't know if it's actually over or something, but I'm just...
Well, you see, they said they copyrighted the dialogue wheel. They didn't say anything about the dialogue square.
Or the dialogue tree.
There you go. Now you're thinking.
Now you're thinking with Portal.
Exactly.
Portal, another revolutionary game from 2007.
2007 was the year of big finales and very revolutionary video games.
Yes, we can all agree with that one. That 2007 was literally the year it's like, hey, let's just pop out a bunch of games that'll start great trilogies and great fandoms for time immemorial, I guess.
And it also released Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, which would go on to poison the rest of the industry in due time.
Oof. Yes.
I think it's safe to say Mass Effect had a more positive effect in the long run than Call of Duty.
Positive effect.
Ah, my god, I just realized what I fucking said.
You could say that Mass Effect had a massive effect on Western RPGs.
Yes. Now, the similarities between KOTOR do not end with graphical UI and stuff like that. The morality meter, Paragon and Renegade, they are heavily influenced by the light side and the dark side choices in KOTOR as well. Even with the same color scheme. Blue for light, Paragon, red for dark side, Renegade.
And then there's Kylo Ren, which is just stuck in between Renegade and Paladin, because he's like, man, Renegade is so cool, but I feel like I'm a fucking Paragon.
For a minute, I thought you said Paladin, and I'm like, this isn't Final Fantasy.
I was gonna say Paladin, but no.
What is he? Is Kylo Ren the tank?
Yeah, Kylo Ren is Cecil Harvey.
DPS. No, he's like, you know that musical metronome that swings back and forth? That's Kylo Ren on the freaking morality meter, just like...
Yeah, pretty much.
Now, to the developmental history, EA. They do good sometimes, I guess.
Sometimes.
Well, wait. Mass Effect 1 was created before EA.
EA brought the rights to Mass Effect when the game was pretty much in, like, mid-development stages.
Right, but the original game was published by Microsoft, and I assume they also provided the funding for it.
Yes.
So, like, EA just took something that was already being successful and then bought it so they could reap the rewards of the sequels. And apparently they ruined it by the second game they funded.
I guess we'll talk about that more for Mass Effect 2, because I don't know anything about Mass Effect 2.
No, what I meant was the third one, because that was the second Mass Effect under EA.
Oh, okay.
But we will get to Mass Effect 3 when we get there. We are focusing on Mass Effect 1 for the moment.
Maddie keeps trying to explain the history of this game, and we keep fucking it up.
Yeah.
Yes. Did you know that they were planning on making a spin-off for Mass Effect called Mass Effect Corsair, which was going to be inspired by a Han Solo first-perspective game? It didn't happen, but that's something. We were gonna get a Mass Effect DS game, guys. Yes, we were. Basically, it got lost in... Just lost out there in the gaming world. The project never really got off the ground, because then it got slated, and the team and resources were reassigned to work on Mass Effect 2.
Sonic Chronicles: The Dark Brotherhood. We don't speak about that game.
Now, on to the next part. The heavy cultural influences in Mass Effect you can see through playing the game for yourself. There's Star Wars, there's Star Trek, Stargate. There's literally anything that you can pull from sci-fi, it's in Mass Effect. Like, for example, I want to talk about the Thresher Maws for a half minute. Them big bastards. Apparently, according to the lore, the big Thresher Maws literally yeet their babies into space, so they land on planets.
Big boy.
Just, here you go, baby. Just fucking yeet into space.
Okay, wait. I forgot. What's a Thresher Maw?
The big worm things that live in planets. If you're on a planet and there's a very flat surface, don't go over that flat surface. Because that Thresher Maw will literally jump right on you and kill you.
Okay, so there's actually an in-lore explanation for why the same enemy is reused on multiple planets.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, they actually took that into account.
Yes, Mass Effect 1 has copy-pastings a lot, but it's the first game. I think you can go with a little bit of liability of copy-paste, just a little bit. Unlike Dragon Age 2.
Speaking of first game, we now have the gameplay, which consists mainly of third-person shooting mechanics with dialogue options. Very interesting combination, one might say.
Yes, very interesting indeed. However, it's a little bit too duck and cover. But then again, it's the first game.
Yeah, I'm gonna be straight up honest. If it weren't for the story and the dialogue options, I would have put this game down in 2 hours, because I did not enjoy the shooting mechanics, because I'm not really a big fan of stop-and-go combat systems. It feels like it really breaks the pace for me, and even if it wanted to sell itself on being more strategic, where instead of high-octane action, you would plan your abilities carefully. Combat is pretty much brain-dead for about 90% of the game, because I found the best solution was to duck behind cover, bring my head out, shoot someone, maybe go up to them and slam them with my weapon, and then on the rare 10%, use my character abilities to help me through, like that one instance with the goddamn Geth Prime. Otherwise, I just felt like after a while, I was going through the motions with the combat, and I was just wondering, when am I going to get to the next fucking dialogue option? Because I like this dialogue a lot. It's what kept me interested in playing.
If you had chosen any other class besides the soldier class, which is the dude bro class, you would have had access to more interesting abilities. Like, I was a Vanguard, which has biotic abilities, so I could, like, use the Force or whatever to throw dudes in the air and then pump them with my pistol or shotgun.
Well, I was the soldier because, well, we'll talk about this when we talk about the Normandy crew, but the soldier for the Normandy crew is a bitch and I hate her, so I wanted to be the better soldier. Meanwhile, I had our Asari and Krogan do, what's that fucking thing called?
Biotics?
No, ragdoll physics everywhere, just to fucking show how hilarious they are.
Yeah. Yeah, literally biotics. Like, they just straight up, like, just grab the enemy, just go yeet, and they just ragdoll all over the place.
Very helpful against Krogans.
I love this game's ragdoll physics. Like, when you're up against a Geth Prime, and you're into Mako, and you just run him over, you hit the leg just a little bit, and it completely tumbles over, as if it has no skeleton. It's hilarious.
It just goes back. just see that brings into the biotic skill as a subject. Enemy biotics have a spell you don't have, and I literally call it the ragdoll spell, because they throw it at you, and you just sink to the ground and just ragdoll all over the place for like 5 seconds, and then it takes you like 10 extra seconds to get up, because you're just busy ragdolling all over the ground.
I wonder if the original intent was for you to be zero gravity lifted up or forced back, just like you can with enemies. But then they ran into technical problems, so they just made it so that you were knocked back for a couple seconds.
Yeah, you can basically see it in your companions' menus that they pretty much have everything that's styled compared to what class you picked. Because I picked Vanguard, but in my very first playthrough, I picked Adept, so basically straight mage, if you want to think about it in RPG terms. So I'm basically squishy as fuck. So you just go yeet, 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 singularity, black hole explosion, and then you win, I guess, and a gun.
A tactic I learned about later in the game is I turn on my barrier, then I just go into the middle of the crowd and pump my shotgun into everything.
Oh, that's what makes Krogan so scary, man.
Yeah.
You know, if the big size and their Samus Aran-like tendency to football tackle you wasn't enough.
Yeah, they're so dangerous. They can regenerate, and then if they see you, their AI will literally say, well, I'm gonna go over there and fuck you up, and you're not gonna do shit about it. That's why you gotta make sure you throw them really far away, because that they just leave them helpless, and you can just pump them full of bullets, and that way they won't be able to get you anymore.
When I was on Vermeer with Liara, so like I would have her do the singularity thing. It would cause enemies to, like if they're behind cover, it would force them out of cover and float into the air. So like I would have her do that next to a ledge, and it would carry a Krogan off the ledge, and it would fall off the map, killing it.
Just straight up go, whee! And then you just hear a splat sound that's like, oh look, he's dead.
You know what? Hearing all this shit makes me wish I didn't pick the soldier class.
Yeah! Like, why?
This might upset the McDude bros out there, but every other class in the game is better than frickin' soldier.
I didn't even pick the soldier class because I was a dude bro. I picked it because I wanted my shepherd to have a backstory that involved them being a badass war hero. We'll save that more for the shepherd conversation. I didn't know the combat was going to be the way it was, so I felt like I just kind of walked into a beginner's trap.
If you import your Mass Effect 1 save into Mass Effect 2, is it possible to change your class then?
Yes, you can change your class, because the way that it works is that it's kind of, you're importing your data, but it's acting like you're creating a whole new character, but it's got all your decisions and everything you've done into the system. You can even change the way you want to look too. You don't have to use your imported face. You can just make a whole new face for you.
Alright, Hub, so when you play Mass Effect 2, pick something other than Soldier. You'll have a lot more fun.
Yeah, I hope so.
Honestly, some of the classes in 2 and 3 onward have so many different changes, but some of them are for the worst.
Well, I guess I'll figure that out when I play Mass Effect 2.
Is Vanguard still good all throughout?
Here's the thing about Vanguard. This is a little bit of a spoiler, but you get a charge move where you literally throw yourself into the enemies with a full force biotic fucking punch to the throat.
Ooh, that's cool.
The way that it works is that if you see an enemy at the far end of the room and you want to get him and your guns can't reach him, you just go fucking
I hear that the Vanguard was redone in later games to be more of a close quarters class. Like, you know, shotgun, get close to your enemies.
Yes.
Which is funny because that's how I played my Vanguard class later on in Mass Effect 1. Once I realized, oh hey, the barrier is really helpful.
Shepard, try to remember some of the basics of Vanguard CQC.
Shepard Anderson!
And then she gets yeeted off a space bridge. Okay, I say sheep because my shepherd's whammon, but we'll talk about that when we talk about shepherd. So one thing I noticed when I was on the planets was, I was like, holy shit, the atmosphere in this game is incredible for a 2007 video game.
Yes, the music is very key, especially in BioWare games, because even like if it's like super quiet, but then you hear like the notes of the score starting to play, you're just like, this is some serious shit right here. Like, when you first enter the Citadel and the music starts to play, I'm just like, oh damn, we're doing something important. These people are important. I'm gonna hate them later on, but these people are important.
You know what's weird? I don't remember much of the music in Mass Effect 1, but that's probably because I couldn't hear most of it due to the constant fighting that I was doing. But it'll probably be something I would look up on YouTube later just to appreciate the music more.
Yeah, it's kind of a little bit of audio balancing too. Like, you can adjust the audio in the settings, but it gets a little bit like SA2, kinda, where the music's a little bit too loud and the voices are a bit too quiet, and you're just like, what? I can't hear you!
Well, unlike Sonic Adventure 2, apparently you can fix it here.
Yes, indeed. One song that I particularly remember from Mass Effect 1 is it's in the ILO section, so we'll talk about that when we get there, but it's really good. It's one of the most memorable tracks from the game and keeps getting reused throughout the series. It's really good. Can't remember anything else, though, except for maybe the Citadel, because you're usually there half the time.
There's one track that stuck out in my mind that I remembered it years and years later, but I was driving myself crazy because I didn't remember what game this song was from. Then I got to certain parts of the game earlier today. I was like, oh my god, finally! I know where this song came from.
Your brain was like, ding, 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 ding!
It's that sad piano song. I thought it was from some weird Japanese RPG I played but never finished.
I think I know the theme you're talking about. It plays in the romance screen. Yes, I remember that one, yes.
It did play during the romance scene, but also played after Vermeer, where one of your crewmates died.
Oh boy, that's gonna be a hot topic of discussion. Oh, I can't wait.
The Citadel is basically Coruscant from the Star Wars prequels. It's where all these council meetings take place. And this is where you meet 3 different people. You meet a Asari counselor, you meet a Turian counselor.
Yes, Turian.
And you meet
Solarian. Turian and Solarian.
Yeah, or as I like to call the Solarian one, Ebony Maw from Avengers Infinity War, because he kind of looks like Ebony Maw to me.
Fun fact, the Solarians are literally based on what we as humans would perceive aliens to be like. They're based on that entire concept.
I did think they looked like an alien gray.
Yes. Also, they're amphibious. I'm just throwing that out there. That's a fun fact about Solarians. They're amphibious, and they lay clutches of eggs. That's how they work, I guess.
Yeah, there's tons of places in the Citadel. There's the council, there's the strip club, the bar, a bunch of aliens walking around.
The medical ward where things happen.
Yeah, where you get to meet I don't know what they're called, but they start by saying their emotion they're feeling, and then they talk.
Oh, the Elcor! I love the Elcor! They're so good, I love them!
Gleefulness.
There's a running joke about Elcor Hamlet.
Oh boy.
It's so good! It's so good! Elcor Hamlet!
My favorite species are the Hanar.
The jellyfish?
Yes. They're the super religious ones who refer to themselves in third person, I think.
This one must bring the will of the Enkindlers as his face glows. There is also another running joke with the Hanar. It's also funny.
I've heard about that, and apparently there's a comic about that.
Yes, there is a comic about that.
I gotta get the omnibus so I can read that.
The Citadel is full of a whole bunch of other people, including Ambassador Udina. If you don't like him now, you're gonna hate him later.
Fuck you, Ambassador.
Luckily, I had Anderson punch him in the face so we could escape the Citadel.
Punch that bitch right in the nose, just like, bonk. Speaking of the Citadel, how did you feel about the way that the Citadel looks? Like, I wouldn't say it's one of the most prettiest places to be, but, like, the way that it looks, like the simulated sky, the gravity, and the way things are laid out, like, you're on giant wings of this giant station. Like, I think that's scary, but also beautiful in a sort of sense, like it's kind of mystical in a way, because a lot of people don't know about what the Citadel actually is. The Asari parked up and found it one day and were just like, oh, okay.
It looks like a very artificial utopia looking place. That's the vibe I got. It's like, this is what utopia would look like if it was controlled and contained. Because there's like a underbelly of like jealousy that I had to deal with one mission. And then there's like the bar. There was even one guy I had to talk out of doing drugs because he wanted to keep up with all the other alien races. And I was like, no, don't do that. You'll be a disgrace to humans.
Oh yeah. Oh boy, that's there's a lot of quests that get a little bit dark down there. I specifically remember one where there's this girl and she's working undercover for CSEC, and this bastard who works for CSEC wouldn't pull her out of the mission because she's in direct goddamn danger because her sister's worried about her, and you just walk up and like, dude, if you don't do this, I'm literally gonna report you. It's just, and it's like, okay, stop strong-arming me, I'll do it. God, stop. Shepherd, advocate for little girls everywhere.
Yeah, if your shepherd's a woman.
Yes.
The Citadel looks like the good future of Sonic CD.
Yeah, I can kind of see that. It looks like the good future of Metallic Madness.
Yeah, oh boy, Metallic Madness intensifies base boosted.
Yeah, right.
But yes, it does. It does. I think it provokes, it feels safe. At the start, anyway, it feels safe right at the start of the game. But also, who are these frickwits that are in power that's saying we humans can't do anything because, I don't know, we're... Then again, First Contact War, that's a thing. Ugh. Galactic politics suck.
So, ending the gameplay portion, hearing you guys talk about more interesting combat techniques just makes me think, fuck, I played this game the wrong damn way.
Yeah, let me get into what our shepherds are. I want to explain the evolution of my shepherd in my past attempts to get through this series. I never made it past Mass Effect 2, unfortunately.
Rubs hands together.
But now I'm going to make an effort to fix that this time. And this time, my shepherd is a lot more interesting.
Yes, Shepherd was made in the way that they were supposed to, is for effective roleplay for the player character, because what Shepherd actually is kind of like, I'm going to bring up the Avatar system in Fire Emblem because it's the closest comparison that I have. They are kind of a little bit bland for you to project your own feelings and your own emotions onto them. And their deliveries and stuff like that's flat for a reason. Props to BioWare. Thank you. You actually gave us a flat 2D character that we can actually flesh out with choices. Thank you very much. We appreciate you. We love you.
I think it's funny that for years, at least when the original trilogy was being released, they had like male shepherd on the front cover, but when I look at the Legendary Edition box, instead of a male shepherd, it's like a masked character. I think that's supposed to represent shepherd because they don't have like a set identity at this point.
Because now they realize that, oh wait, people actually like femme-shep more than male-shep. So maybe in this RPG series about customizing your own character and making your own choices about that character, we should make the marketing of that character more ambiguous.
Even in the comics, they don't even refer to Shepherd by a gender, they just refer to their name because BioWare writers couldn't figure out, like, which players picked what gender. So I like that approach because they just said, like, your Shepherd is literally whatever gender you pick, but in the sense of comics, it's like, they're just shepherd. Like, one of them even says, I can't even tell if they're male or female because their body is so fucked up. I think that's a good, like, little bit of a hand wave to say, like, yeah, we wouldn't know which one you picked, so we just went for the obvious route and just referred to that by them and shepherd.
Yeah, so since we're talking about Shepherd, we might as well start our first major topic as having our Shepherd, because this is the character we create and play the game with. So we're going to talk about each of our backgrounds first. So my background for Shepherd was that she constantly moved from post to post because her parents did, because that's what I did when I was growing up. I moved a fair bit throughout my life. And I decided to make Shepherd a war hero, as in she didn't let any of her comrades get killed during a mission, and she was rewarded as a war hero because I'm the type of person who will try their damnedest to make sure no one dies. If I have to die so everyone else could live, then so be it.
Aww.
And this characterized me as being a very idealistic take on Shepard. She's idealistic, but she's also got a temper, because I didn't hesitate to choose the, not renegade options, but like the more angry responses if something pissed her off. And I did make her a female, and I named her Erin. Why Erin? I don't know, it just kind of came up in my mind.
My Shepherd is basically a combination of all the Shepherds I've played through before. Basically, myself. If I was in these situations, if I was the character, because literally in my head, if you give me a character that I can customize, I'm literally going to make them myself, because that's how I feel where the storytelling is a little bit stronger. It's like, what if you were here? What if you were friends with these people? My Shepherd was a colonist and a soul survivor, meaning that she went through one of the most traumatic things that could ever happen to a military person, is the loss of their entire squad, which can emotionally bring down, like, it can mess you up really badly. And even in the beginning of the game, where Anderson and Udine are talking, it's like, are you sure we want someone like that to represent humanity? And Anderson's like, she's the best one that we have. And I just think that's like a strong way of like saying, like, even if this emotional baggage will bring you down, you can rise yourself up to be stronger. Be stronger for your friends. Be strong for your family. Be strong for all the people that haven't even been born yet. And I think that's strong. And that's why I made my Shepherd the way she is, because I want her to be a friend to the less fortunate, to be like a big shield for everyone, to protect them and let them know that, yes, there is someone out there that will take care of them, and sure, they'll see tomorrow.
Yay. So originally, when I played Mass Effect, I chose the Xbox 360 Dude Bro options, which are Spacer, which isn't really Dude Bro, but War Hero, so, you know, everyone sucks my cock because I am the best, and Soldier because, ew, I don't want gay magic powers, I just want to shoot shit. And I made my Shepherd a male, and he looked pasty fucking white because, I don't know why, the lighting and the character creator didn't communicate what he would look like in, like, normal gameplay. I don't know how that happened. He ended up looking like Data from Star Trek. So that was on my Xbox 360. So when I moved to PC and then PS3, I would always choose the same options, have the same appearance, and the same class, and the same backstory.
And the same backstory. God, this is like being reminded of my Dragon Age Origins playthrough. Oh, flashbacks.
But so much time has passed that I pretty much forgot everything. So it's like, okay, now I'll have to restart everything. And that's going to be a pain in the ass because I'm going to have to play Mass Effect 1 again. Which is going to be tedious because it hasn't been ported to more recent consoles yet. So when the Legendary Edition came out, my taste in character has changed significantly since my Xbox 360 Dude Bro phase. So for my new Shepherd, I decided, okay, I'm going to make my Shepherd interesting now. She's going to have a tragic backstory. She's going to be a she. She's not going to be a soldier. She's going to be a vanguard, which is the middle ground between soldier and biotic. And instead of romancing Ashley Williams, the racist, I'm going to romance autistic blue girl Liara.
Gosh, that brings into another major factor about Shepard, and we're just gonna keep this as brief. Paragon Renegade. Which did you pick?
Pure Paragon.
Pure Paragon as well. Renegade in Mass Effect 1 is just...
Fuck you, everyone.
I don't want to say bad, but it's kind of bad. Kind of bad. Thankfully, by Mass Effect 2 and 3, it's not space racist. It's more of, I'm a badass.
Yeah, I didn't really get the feeling that there was any real benefits to doing a renegade choice. Like, I think my favorite Paragon choice was actually the very first one, or at least one of the first, where you're hunting down this Fist guy. He's kind of like a crime boss, and you run across two of his packaging workers, and you have the option to kill them, but I said, nah, you're okay, you're free. And Rex and Garrus were with me, so Rex was like, it would have been faster to kill them, to which Garrus is like, no, fuck that, it's dumb.
My first instance of Paragon and Renegade is a side quest with the woman by the name of Bhatia. Her husband, Samesh Bhatia, wants her body to be returned to her because she died on Eden Prime. He wants her body back so she can have a proper burial. And this is one of the things where you can actually bring Ashley with you, and it actually gives an insight onto her deeper character that isn't just, space racist. Because his wife was actually part of her crew that got killed. And there are two ways you can go about getting the body back. You can either be Renegade, which gives a positive option, or Paragon, which also gives a positive option. And my shepherd was like, this man is grieving, he wants his wife to come home so she can have a proper burial, and I just literally walked up to that guy and I'm like, who cares about these wounds that she has? Who fucking cares? This man wants his wife to come home so she can have a proper burial. Just give him back his wife.
I pretty much told that dude, fuck you, give him her body, you piece of shit.
But for science, me as my shepherd, fuck your science.
Fucking magnets, how do they work? I hate these scientists.
I hate science. But yes, Force, where was your first instance of a Paragon and Renegade choice that you particularly enjoyed?
The thing with the Arachni.
One of the major choices of the game. Novaria, the ice planet full of idiots, I guess.
Corporations.
Corporation!
Yeah, I let the raunchy queen live because I was like, yeah, your species may have fucked things up, but you seem to be well aware of that, and we shouldn't judge a species based on their past actions, at least not entirely. So I was like, go bitch, you free. You free, girl!
And apparently, they had no means to communicate with other species, so they couldn't broker a peace deal even if they wanted to.
Which brings up that moment where the Arachni, they're very interesting. I will say they are very heavily Starship Troopers influenced. I think you can see the influence from Starship Troopers in the Arachni specifically. If anyone has seen that movie, that's, flashbacks.
I've seen half of it, and I gotta finish it because it's one of the three big Paul Verhoeven films, the other two being RoboCop and Total Recall, both of which I loved.
So, I let the Arachni Queen go, and one of the most interesting things that I found about the Arachni is that they speak in music. Well, she refers to it as music, like songs, notes, and stuff like that, and colors, which is why she was able to manipulate that corpse to speak. Because she had no other way to communicate with us anyway, so she's like, alright, I'm in a desperate situation, these people could kill me or they could help me, so I want to tell my side of the story. And I let her go, because yeah, they did some shit back then, but she knows because her memories are her mother's memories. That's how the Arachni work. They have babies, and their memories go to their babies, for queens specifically, and she's like, alright, I know we did wrong, I can do better, and I let her go, because I believe that she can do a whole lot better. Now, for more major choices, it still sucks about Pharaohs, to be quite honest. Like, we could have learned so much from the Thorian, the big Cthulhu plant monster. Instead, we had to kill it. That sucks.
Yeah, and I let that, Asari...
Shiala?
Yeah, what was the choice with her?
You could have either let her go, you could have killed her, or she could stay and help the colonists.
Yeah, I made her stay and help the colonists because I was like, girl, you were put in a shitty situation. Why would I kill you? For no reason.
She was being brainwashed. It wasn't really her fault.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I said, girl, you can make up for all this shit by helping the colonists.
Ask Fidan. Yeah, I believe in the strong redemption of people, which is why Mass Effect 2 and Mass Effect 3 are a bit stronger in the narrative sense. But in terms of morality, which side do you think is a little bit more impactful before we get back to talking more about Shepard? I personally think Paragon is a little bit more impactful than Renegade, because, like, the galaxy's full of shit, but, like, you and your crew are this little light of hope that's out there to make the galaxy a little bit of a better place.
Considering that Shepard is the first human Spectre, I'd like to give the galaxy a better impression on humanity, because had I gone Renegade, it would have given the impression that, oh, humans are just assholes, fuck them, they don't care about the rest of us. So, the fact that I was being a Paragon meant that I had to make these stronger choices, because yes, I could have let the Arachni Queen die. Her fucking species killed a lot of people, but she explained that, no, we didn't have any way to communicate, so I had to make the stronger choice and let her go. Because I like to think being a Spectre means that you had to make the hard choices There's one Spectre in particular I like to shit talk a lot. We'll get to him, believe me. He's gonna be fun to talk about.
Blasto.
The Blasto! No, it's not Blasto. We'll talk about Blasto in Mass Effect 2 and 3. Not that Spectre, no. No, not him. Enkindle this. I'm the only one that gets that joke.
Eternity is forever.
Eternity. Embrace eternity. Oof. Oh, boy.
A major part of the story is that Shepard becomes the first human Spectre, which I believe stands for... What does Spectre stand for?
Oof, special... Oh god, it's been so long. They just shorten it to Spectre because it's so much easier to remember, but I think it's like Special Tactics Recon something, I think?
Yeah, something among that. They're like...
Why would an alien species have an anagram that makes sense in English?
Translators.
Okay, I get that, but...
If you think about it, all the council races each have their own faction that acts like a Spectre. The Solarians have the STG, the Asari have all their commandos, and Turians have like their basic ground force grunt troops, which makes them famous, and their big fucking ships. So like, the council is like, alright, we're a big bunch of big brain, we're gonna make something that will combine all the resources that we as the council races have, so what are we gonna make? We're gonna make this thing under council rules, which is called Spectre. So it's like literally the best candidates from any type of race can be eligible to become a Spectre candidate. So I think that's why they have that, I guess.
Right, but will that anagram translate and make sense to every single language ever?
I think? I don't think the council thought that far ahead. They're a bunch of idiots anyway.
Sounds about right.
Sounds about right.
So being a Spectre is a big deal because that means you can go off and do a bunch of special missions. You become a figurehead for the council. But the thing with Spectres is that they don't give off a very good first impression because the first one we see, who I believe is Saren, gives us the impression that, oh, Spectres are dicks.
No, the first one we actually see is Nihilus, the poor guy that got shot.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and then he fucking dies within the first 15 minutes. I was like, no, my bird dude. But then I met Garrus, and I was like, yes, you will be a worthy replacement.
You know what's strange about Nihilus? He's the only Turian so far besides Garrus and Saren to actually have a different design compared to like the copy-paste ones that you see, and we never see it again. He's the most recognizable one, and he dies in like the first 15 minutes of the game. Oh, but fuck Saren, yeah, we'll get to him when we get to him. Now, another important thing about Shepard is, just to put this into perspective as we continue to talk about them, romance. BioWare is big on romance. Who did you romance in Mass Effect 1?
Liara.
If I was a male Shepard, I would have romanced Tali, because Tali is good girl. But I romanced Liara because I was like, aw, she's autistic. And I love that. But then I accidentally had a romance flag for Kate, and I was like, what? I mean, I'd smash you too, but come on, can we have like a threesome? But then I had to put the hammer down on Caden, but he took it like a man, so it's all good.
Ah, yes, the stealth-mancing flags. That does get fixed in Mass Effects 2 and 3. However, speaking of Tali, as a quick little anecdote, Tali and Garrus are not romanceable in Mass Effect 1. They're romanceable in Mass Effect 2 onwards, and oh boy, BioWare's like, alright, we got these two popular characters, we're gonna make them romanceable. And they literally wrote them to fucking home and back to make them some of the most memorable ones in the entire franchise.
Nice.
I love Tali. But yeah, I romanced Liara.
I'm a single Pringle!
Because her autistic-like personality, because she's focused on the Prothean history and her whole Asari culture thing about when they're intimate with someone, it's less just purely sex and more like you're forming a connection.
We'll talk about this more when we talk about Liara herself, as she is a driving force into the game and is a major character in herself. It's a combination of nervous systems and minds. It's spiritual. It's not for like pure pleasure, that does matter, but it's more of a like, I'm going to open my entire self to you, will you do the same for me? It's kind of like that, and that's why I think the Asari are beautiful in their own natural way. It's just like, it's so pretty, it's nice, it's good.
They hit the right check marks for my kind of romance.
Yeah, but I'm a single Pringle.
It's like two souls coming together and brushing up against each other, but then melding into one.
Yes, it's how the Asari pick traits to pass on to their daughters.
So before the council blew up, I fucked Liara.
That's before the council blew up! Before the council blew up!
I'm talking to Benizia in heaven. It's like, I fucked your daughter.
I fucked your daughter! Benizia in the afterlife. Excuse me?
She had the best blue ass possible.
And I devoured that blue ass.
Yeah, yes.
I'm a single Pringle because I was saving myself for Garrus in Mass Effect 2. But in my fixed playthrough, as I call it, my fixed playthrough, I let the romance flag with Caden go through because, yeah, he's a piece of toast and he's kind of bland, but he's my bland piece of toast.
Hey man, those L2 implants, they really get you.
Oh my god, the poor guy, he suffered enough. He needs a hug. Come here, you Canadian little bastard. Yes, he's Canadian.
Okay, then I'm glad he's dead.
God damn!
God damn! Wait, did you kill... We'll talk about that later.
The only thing worse than racists are Canadians.
Hey, fuck you, guy.
Hey, fuck you, guy.
Okay, that and the British.
Now, another thing with Shepard, the visions. We're going to talk about the visions for a brief moment because the Dragon Ball Z brain in me is like, the visions weren't a good plot driver and father of Goku. So, do you think the visions that Shepard has is a good driving force for the plot, besides the whole thing with the Spectre who cannot be named yet?
I had to tone my TV down because it was so fucking loud. I was worried that I was gonna scare one of my dogs awake because he barks at anything that scares him. But basically, yeah, during the first 30 minutes of the game, you come across I forget it's like a radio tower?
It is a Prothean beacon.
A Prothean beacon, thank you. You get struck by it, and then Shepard gets implanted by these crazy-ass visions that she can't make sense of. As you go through the game and with the help of Liara, you start to piece together what those visions actually are. And in a major plot twist, we'll discuss that in a bit, but I thought the visions... I thought I was good enough by being a Spectre and trying to help the galaxy, but the visions were ultimately a means to an end because we find out later that there's, aside from the Spectre we're going to talk about, there's an even bigger force that is going to threaten the galaxy, and they're connected to those visions.
You do need to, foreshadow the Protheans and the Reapers, and visions aren't the worst way to do it, especially the way they did it, where it's broken fragments in his mind because the messages can only truly be comprehended by someone with the understanding of a Prothean.
Yes, which is why we have Liara, because even though she's 100 years old and she's been looking at the Protheans for 50 years of her long life, she understands a little bit more than most people do.
She's only a little over 100 years old, which means she's barely legal.
Oof. Imagine this for a second, because Kaiden was the first one to activate that beacon. I don't think his brain wouldn't have been as strong as Shepard's, especially with those outdated L2 implants. I think he would have gotten the worse for wear if he actually got the memories and stuff like that and the visions. Now I'm kind of glad Shepard pushed him out of the way.
Oh yeah, his brain probably would have turned to goop.
Yeah, I also think it's a little bit creepy that the screen zooms in on this brain. It looks like a brain with these chips in it, and it's gooey and stuff like that. And I'm just is this going somewhere, or is it just here to scare me? I think it was just there to scare me.
Did I accidentally walk into an educational film?
Probably. But yes, the full meaning behind the visions will be discussed much later in this little podcast. But now we can get on to another subject, which is my personal favorite, the Normandy and her crew. How do we like the ship and her crew, guys?
The ship is a beauty.
I like being lesbian, xenophilic Captain Kirk. So that's cool.
Gosh, my experience with the Normandy is just because I've been there, I've been playing Mass Effect for years, I love the ship, I love the crew. Even though most of them come and go throughout the franchise, I love every single one of them little buggers. It is literally found family, the entire trope. That's literally what Mass Effect and the Normandy and their crew come down to. It's just one big found family.
And I hear that really pays off in one of the Mass Effect 3 DLCs, which, from what I heard, if that was in the base game, people would have been more okay with the ending.
The Citadel DLC? The Citadel DLC is so good.
Okay, that plus the extended cut stuff, which apparently actually makes the endings more distinct than just colors.
Yes, in the Legendary Edition, you can't even see the original ending of Mass Effect 3 because the extended cut is literally what we got, and I think it's the best thing in the world.
They dumpstered that original ending.
Yeah, they literally... The backlash was so bad, EA and BioWare were like, let's fix this. We need to fix this. And they did.
Yeah, the backlash was so bad that even though I never cared about Mass Effect, I fucking heard about it. It was that huge.
Okay, I'm looking forward to watching videos on the indoctrination theory, because apparently the ending was so bad that people came up with theories that the endings were actually in Shepard's head.
I think that theory has gone out the window now, but it is a very interesting theory.
Oh yeah, it's definitely not canon, which just goes to show how shit the original ending was, that the one thing that would have made that ending interesting was apparently not the intent.
No, it was not the intent. When we get to Mass Effect 3, I'll explain more in depth as to why that is, because I have a little bit more knowledge in my brain. But since we are now talking about the crew, we'll start with one of the first biotics that you meet, Kaiden Alenko.
Canadian.
That's it. Move on.
No, I can actually just can't.
I mentioned earlier that I accidentally had a romance flag with him, but he took it like a man, so, I'll give him props for that.
I will say this, compared to the next two bland pieces of toast that you run into in Mass Effects 2 and 3, Kaiden is literally the better choice.
Oh boy. I don't even dislike Kaiden.
People say, oh, he's vanilla and boring. Like, you gotta have a little bit of vanilla and boring in your life. Like, come on, he gets way better, trust me. From experience, and my now new experiencing playthrough with Kaiden alive, he gets so much better. He's nervous, and he doesn't know how to, talk to people because he was fucking taken as a child to literally be turned into a biotic warrior.
Shepard himself is already bland. By design, I don't need my supporting cast to be bland.
Kaiden, his backstory pertains to going into a camp called BOT. I actually do not remember the actual meaning for it, but he called it Brain Camp.
Bart Simpson and Camp Krusty.
Camp Krusty. He called it Brain Camp, where the Alliance and all that shit took in a bunch of kids that were exposed to EZO, which is basically what causes biotics. And some of them turned out really bad. A lot of them died from cancer or deformations and stuff like that. But to be exposed to biotics, you gotta be in utero for that, for humans, because they're not like Krogan or Asari, or hell, even Turians. They don't get it naturally. So it's heavily implied that a group that we will not name right now blew up a whole bunch of EZO and put it in the air where Kaiden's family lived, and that's how he got his biotics, and he's considered lucky. He only gets headaches, and his L2 implants don't help much because they're so outdated he needs to get upgraded with new ones. But putting implants in is kind of dangerous to start off with, so he's very, very lucky in the grand scheme of things.
Next up, I'm going to quote Revolver Ocelot from Metal Gear Solid 3. Bitch!
Bitch! Bitch! Ashley Williams!
Yeah, I don't like Ashley very much.
Ashley is the most divisive person in the entire crew, except for maybe one other person that I can't think of on the top of my head. She's racist. It goes into her backstory through the Williams family. As someone who is reading the comics right now, it turns out her grandfather is not as squeaky clean as she likes to believe, because First Contact War with the Turians, he gave up his colony so people would survive.
I mean, technically, we are aliens to them, too.
I know, right?
And her entire career has been lambasted because of something her grandfather did. That's why she never got past Gunnery Chief. She's literally been stuck there for years. And then she's all like, Shepard, we shouldn't have these aliens on board. And Shepard's like, huh? What? You say what? Bitch say what? That it's like, the Normandy is like this big project, and then it turns out it's a combined effort with Turians, and everyone's like, what? God. I hate Ashley. She's got a story, but I hate her. I hate her so much.
I can't believe that my past 3 shepherds put his digital dick inside of her.
I know!
When it could have been inside Liara, who is the superior girl in every way.
Fuck, I'd rather have Rex go down on me. At least he would have stories to tell me.
Now we get to talk about one of my personal favorite characters. Or not Rex. Grandpa.
Grandpa, tell me more war stories.
Okay, kid, I'll tell you more war stories. Just sit down and listen to what this...
Alright, kid, shut the fuck up, okay? While I do my best critical impersonation, I'm gonna tell you more war stories. Let's do this shit.
My favorite story of his was he was hired to assassinate one of his friends, an Asari commando, and they decided to organize a duel in some space station, and they fucking tore the whole place up. People had to evacuate. It was about to blow up, and Rex had her locked inside the medical ward, and he escaped as it was exploding. So he thought, well, alright, that bitch is toast. But then he got a message saying, better luck next time.
He couldn't kill her. I lived, bitch.
And then he told the person who hired him to kill that Asari commando, hey, so I did everything I could for like 3 days to assassinate her, and she's still fucking alive. Now, I'm your best bet of not dying, so I'll be your bodyguard. And really, it was the easiest job he ever had. That shit's fucking crazy.
Yeah, I remember that story, because I remember listening to it just thinking, holy shit, this bitch just eluded every goddamn plan he had.
Fun fact about that Asari commando, there is heavy information that is implied that a character that you meet in Mass Effect 2 is that same Asari commando. I'll give her name, so you'll be really excited when you finally see her. Her name is Liara T'Soni.
Holy shit, really?
Rex is just a great old grandpa. Now, speaking of grandpa, how we feel about the Krogan's plight with the genophage?
It's a really fucked situation.
I have a lot of sympathy for the Krogan. Like, back then, what the Turians and Solarians did probably was an act of desperation, but to continue keeping the genophage with the Krogan, I just think it's awful. It's terrible. Krogan live for millennia, so Rex he even counts the days that the Krogan haven't had a genophage cure, and it's like 1,024 days or something like that. Years and shit like that. That's a long time.
On one hand, they were gonna conquer the galaxy. They were bred to be unstoppable to stop the Rachni.
Yeah, the Krogans are redundant. They got extra hearts, an extra nervous system, 4 testicles.
And apparently they think that transplanting testicles would cure the genophage, but it doesn't.
No, it does not. 4,000 credits for a whole set.
Oh my god.
Ashley's like, hey, Commander, we have 4,000 credits right over there.
It just looks at Rex.
Hold him down.
Bitch! Rex would kill her. Rex would strangle her freaking little tiny neck.
Football tackle.
Football!
Yeah, so there's a mission you can do for Rex where you can find his family's battle armor, and if you do that, that will help him live later in the game, because I remember you telling me that the man could die, and I was like, bitch, I'm not letting that happen.
Yes.
So I did that side quest, and then when we got to, was it Vermeer?
Vermeer, yes.
Yeah, he had like a bit of a emotional moment, and I had to talk him down, and thankfully I did that mission. It was easier to talk him down that way. So, yes, Space Frog Grandpa gets to live another day.
Did Saren actually have a cure for the genophage?
No, he did not. He was just cloning Krogan.
Okay.
That is one of the many things we'll bring up when we talk about Saren. Oh boy.
Yeah. And the whole cloning Krogan does come back in Mass Effect 2 because a party member is, well, you'll see. Cock blocking more information.
Yeah, Rex is good, Grandpa. And speaking of goodness, Tali! I love this bitch. I love her and her inquisitive technological smarts. I love her pilgrimage quest. I love her design. I love how adorable she is. I love everything about this girl, and I will protect her.
I love how we've all just conveniently agreed that Tali is the best girl. Tali Zora Naraya.
She is. I love her. You see, Ashley, not all aliens are bad.
Engineer Adams, you can talk to him, and he has some really good things to say about Tali. And he's just, like, Shepard's like, she's not giving you any trouble, is she? And he's like, no. She's, like, been the best help ever. And I think that's just so cute because Tally's like, I'm going to become an adult, and I want to help the migrant fleet. And she's literally helping us like stop the main bad guy of the game, and she's doing real good. And it's just she's very cute. She's very cute.
So Tally is what is known as a Quarian, who are these immunocompromised aliens who get sick really easily and are responsible for creating the enemies of the game, the Geth. They kind of even sort of have like that Quarian look to them, minus like a face.
They have flashlights for heads, ma'am.
There's the fucking Pantheons from Mega Man Zero, where it's just X's body, but they have like red lights for heads.
They have flashlights for heads. Fun fact about Quarian culture, the migrant fleet have birth ships. That's where all Quarians and that are born. So when they're out on their pilgrimage, they have their birth ship name, and then when they're finished with their pilgrimage, they get to be chosen by a captain, and they will take that ship's name. So Tally is called Talizora Naraya, which Na means birth. So she's Tally Zora Naraya, which is the ship that she was born on. That's her child name, pretty much. Her adult name is earned through finishing her pilgrimage. And that is how Quarian culture is dictated through naming conventions, and I think that's pretty neat.
Yeah, we meet Tally when she's on her pilgrimage, so we bring her along with us.
We saved her life.
And she's like the best goddamn tech person you will ever have. I brought her on a lot of scouting missions to scavenge for tech parts.
Oh, Tally becomes so good later on, like extra good. Like, you hold softly to protect this being.
Yeah, I brought her and Rex along the most on my missions, because Rex was a good meat shield and his biotics really helped. I was the soldier and Tally was the techie, so we had like a 3 groupie.
We got a dad, we got a mom or potential love interest if you're playing male shepherd, and then there's Tally.
Yeah, but Tally good girl, yeah.
Tally good girl. How do you feel about Tally, John?
Oh, I think she's cute. I like how she was very no-nonsense when dealing with those people in the market corridors.
Yeah, there's a lot of racism towards Quarians because, they did make the Geth, but, like, Tally brings up in Mass Effect 3 that's, like, that Turian called me a suit rat. They're so mean to them. Like, I don't understand why.
Apparently, they're inspired by the Romani.
Yes, that they're heavily inspired. They're nomadic. They're always on the move. The way that they dress is like heavily inspired by them. Like you can see like the cowls that they have like on the back of their suits. Even the way that some of them sound, it's that they're heavily based on those people.
She does sound a little Middle Eastern.
Yes.
Yeah, I got very Indian vibes from her.
Is India in the Middle East? I know, I sound stupid.
It's in India, though. Tally is very good. But it's a real darn shame that you don't see any more Quarians until Mass Effect 2, but, like, you don't see any more, like, a lot of more Krogan until Mass Effect 2 and stuff like that. So they're literally like, we're gonna make one model, and that's it. Just one model. Just plonk Tally right there, just like, plonk. Oh, fun fact. She gets a drone in Mass Effect 2, and she gave it a name.
Ooh.
How cute's that? She gave her drone a name that's cute.
Yeah. And now, Maddie, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Do you like birds?
I do like birds. Why do you ask?
Because the next character we're talking about is a space bird cop. His name is Garrus.
Garrus Vicarian, my beloved. I love Garrus. Garrus is very cool. He's great.
In all of my parties, it's always me, Garrus, and someone else.
Garrus is that type of character that's like, I'm tired of this bureaucratic crap. Shepard, I want to help you take down the bad guy. Will you take me? Will you take me, please? Please? And you're just like, yes.
There was one mission, I think it was his loyalty mission, where it's like a scientist that's fucking up with his patients. So you go there, and you basically told me, it doesn't matter what you do. If you let him go, he'll die anyway. So I just said, Garrus, kill him.
Garrus, kill him.
And he was like, that was very satisfying.
Well, the point of that mission is that, okay, you can't control how other people react, but you can control how you react. That's what matters.
Yeah, Garrus is basically, and a lot of people have pointed it out, even other NPCs across the series, is that Garrus is Shepard if Shepard wasn't the badass that they are.
I'm helping shaping him by telling him, Garrus, it is of the utmost importance that you uphold your morals, That way you can be a true symbol for the galaxy. Unless said people try to fuck you over, in which case kill them all.
He gets a lot better in Mass Effects 2 and 3. It's just that he's a little bit bare bones to start off with, and again, everyone's a little bit bare bones, because, first game syndrome, but then BioWare really shines through. It's like, hey, you want some tasty lore? Do you know Turians eat rocks?
Ah, so they're like the Gorons.
Yeah, they're birds. They eat rocks. I've been laughing about that for weeks, because I'm just like, what? They eat rocks? Good crunch. Good crunch. But yes, my favorite thing about Garrus is when you actually do see him when Fist thugs asking where the Quarian is, which is aka Tally. And Dr. Michelle's like, I'm not gonna tell you anything, and Garrus just fucking comes in, shoots the guy in the head, and then Shepard's like, you could have shot the hostage! Like, what were you thinking?
Yes, but I did not.
What were you thinking, you dumbass?
Oh, my Shepard reacted like, good shot.
God, you asshole.
My Shepard is like, don't you ever do that again, or I'm gonna kick you in the butt.
I think my response was, you could have fucking killed the hostage.
Yes, unfortunately, thus through a change of writers, the whole moral system with Garrus, it does come back in Mass Effect 2, but, certain things happen to him.
Oh boy.
And it's kind of makes you sad and make him want to give him a hug, which I did. I fucked Garrus in Mass Effect 2, guys.
Nice. He becomes Punished Garrus.
Punished Garrus. The punished arc of Garrus Precarian.
Oof.
Dude, should I bring up the body pillow real quick?
What?
Wait, what?
BioWare made official body pillows for Garrus and Tally.
Yes! I need a Tally one.
You know what? I don't have a body pillow, but I will make an exception for Tally.
Wait. Did they put out a Liara one? I want that one.
I don't know if they have a Liara one yet, but the ones that I saw on the official store are Tally and Garrus.
I love it. It's official.
Okay. Now, we're going to talk about one of the most pivotal characters in the entire crew, Jeff Joker Moreau, who is your disabled pilot.
Who's voiced by Seth Green.
Seth Green, my love.
Yeah, I didn't know it was him until you pointed it out, and then I heard it.
Really? You didn't recognize him from Robot Chicken, Austin Powers, Family Guy, or any of the other shit he was in the mid-aughts?
The main thing I know him for is, 2012 Leonardo from the 2012 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series from Season 3 onward.
That was him? Okay, I didn't watch the show, but...
For Season 3 onward, there was a change in actors for, controversial reasons, yeah. So, Joker is a pilot for the Normandy, but he's actually disabled, so he's not very good at walking. And I remember him saying, well, if you were expecting some story about how some disabled kid beat all the odds, you're going to be disappointed. My mother was actually... What did he say his mother was?
His mother was an engineer.
Yeah, and he was the best goddamn pilot, and even all the teachers knew it.
He's basically kind of jaded because of his syndrome. He has what is known as Vrolik syndrome, and he's got brittle bones. His legs are hollow. He can walk, but not very far. Just don't ask him to dance, because his fucking legs will snap in half. That actually does become a joke in Mass Effect 3, but it's wholesome. It's actually wholesome.
Okay.
It's wholesome, don't worry.
Did he ask, like, a organization for disabled people, hey, is this okay?
It's just, Joker, he makes jokes at his own expense because I wouldn't say he's insecure. I believe he uses jokes, and that is a deflection for humor to hide his insecurities.
Ironically enough, he got the name Joker because he was very humorless in school.
There is actually a comic about Joker, and I really hope I can find it so I can read it because I love his character. If you think about the Shepard is the one that holds the crew together, Joker is kind of like the glue, but he's also like, he is the Normandy if you really think about it. He's the pilot, he knows the ins and outs of it, he is the Normandy, and he literally holds the entire team together with his skills, and like the final mission where he's like, I can do it, and I have full faith in him to get us to where we need to go, and he's just, I believe in his skills because he's literally like the best pilot, and a lot of people will say that he is the best one. And I love him. I adore him with my soul.
And he leads the charge against Sovereign.
Yes, he does. He's a Chad.
Hey guys, I'll try spinning. That's a good trick.
I'll try spinning. That's a good trick. Whee! No, but going back to the Vrolik syndrome thing,
When I say joke, I mean it's like it's good to see him actually, get up about and do something and not see him sitting in the chair all the time. And I think that's a little bit more healthy for him, because in the Citadel DLC, which I'll talk about more in Mass Effect 3, it's lighthearted, it's good. You actually get to see these people actually, be themselves. And I love Joker for that, because I feel that he's the most human out of the entirety of the human cast,
Yeah.
Like, Ashley's fierce, Kaiden is kind of reserved and nervous because, biotics and shit like that. And then there's Joker, who's literally the most human out of all humans.
And we have one more member of the Normandy crew, the last member we get, and one who is a major talking point in of herself. And her name is Liara, or as I like to call her, the best autistic girlfriend you will ever have.
Yeah!
Dr. Liara T'Soni, daughter of Matriarch Vanessa, henchman to the main antagonist of the game.
So, when you leave the Citadel on the Normandy after becoming a Spectre, there are 3 planets you have to go to in any order. I chose to go to the one with Liara first, because I wanted her right away.
And a Prothean expert to figure out what the main antagonist wants, which is Prothean shit, is probably the best thing that you can do. Plus, she's got ties to the Lieutenant, Matriarch Vanessa.
What's funny is when I first played Mass Effect, I played Noveria first and killed Matriarch Vanessa before I met her daughter.
Oof. Liara be like, oh, you're here to save me. By the way, your mother's dead. Liara, what?
So for subsequent playthroughs, I got Liara first because I think that's the one you're supposed to do first because it's pretty short.
Yeah, they literally said it's probably the best decision that you go get Liara first before you go anywhere else.
Apparently, she gets delirious if you save her last.
Yes! Yes! If you leave her for last, she's so delirious because she hasn't slept or ate or drank anything, so she's like, oh!
Okay, so for context, you find Liara in like a barrier because she's trying to keep herself safe from the Geth.
Yeah, and she can't leave because it's like it has to be deactivated from the inside, so she's literally like stuck. She can't move. We should talk about Matriarch Vanessa. I feel more sympathy for her than probably the main villain of the game. Matriarch Vanessa tried to save him. She tried.
I remember feeling like, oh shit, so her plight was, okay, I'm going to get Saren to stop this bullshit that he's gonna be doing. That didn't go so well.
No, it did not. Matriarchs are the most powerful of the Asari as they are in their final stages of life. Asari have 3 stages of life. The maiden stage, the matron stage, and then the matriarch stage. And Matriarch Vanessa, through the indoctrination, speaks about how much she did love her daughter. And I just feel I have more sympathy for her than I do Saren in any regard, because she is innocent in this.
And what's funny is that Liara didn't really... I wouldn't say she didn't feel bad about it, but she said that she was never that close with her mother, so she didn't feel all that distressed over it.
No, Liara did say that I wasn't very close to my mother, but she did love her mother, but they weren't very close. And that does go into the subject of Liara's quote-unquote father, if you can call her that. The thing with the Asari is that they are monogendered. Male and female terms do not matter to them, but they are presenting female, so many people refer to them as she pronouns. Liara is what is considered a pure-blood Asari, and it's kind of a racist term. It's awful.
Yeah, apparently pure bloods are, considered disgusting in Asari culture.
Which is weird because in most other racist societies, being pure blood is a good thing. Like, human royalty would inbreed in order to keep the royal lineage alive.
Well, for the Asari, it's when they mind meld with other races, they are picking DNA genetics or something like that to put into their children. Therefore, they are taking bits and pieces of culture to mitigate with their culture to make the Asari are basically the negotiators of the galaxy. I think through melding with other races and species, they're able to get a broader understanding of the species throughout the entire galaxy, and therefore can be mitigators and negotiators for not just their own kind, but for their partner. But sad thing for their partners is that some of them are very short-lived, especially the Solarians. They barely push past 45 years old. That's how short-lived they are. And for the Asari, they live in the moment of the now and not for the future. A romantic aspect of the Asari and their culture is that they live for thousands of years. They'd rather have their time with their short-lived partner than live for centuries with another Asari or like that. I think Krogan would probably... Speaking of the Krogan, there is a side quest There is a Krogan reciting poetry to his Asari girlfriend.
Wait.
Good Froggy.
Wait, is that in Mass Effect 1?
You can see it in Mass Effect 1. I think you can see it in 2 as well. It's either 1 or 2, but I think it's in 1. It's just...
Because I never got that side quest.
It's probably in 2, but I'm bringing this up because I think it's very cute.
Good Froggy poet.
Good frog. How do you guys feel about Liara and her mother?
I feel bad for the mother, Matriarch Vanessa, because she could have turned Saren around but didn't. And for Liara, I fucked her, so I pretty much think that says everything you need to know about what I think of her.
My shepherd's mouth was blue after that.
It's like, Shepard, did you have like a blue icy? No, I had Liara. You ate Liara in a metaphorical way, yes?
Now, this is just for the Asari design point in standpoint. My personal belief is that whoever looks at them, they are projected in a certain way. Like, when humans see them, they see, like, blue-skinned humans and stuff like that. That is how I believe I personally see the Asari. But what do you think? Do you think that BioWare was lazy when they just made them blue-skinned humans, or what?
I like to think of it as the Asari taking the form of what people can comprehend in their brains. So, for a human, Liara looks like a human. Maybe for Garrus, Liara looks like a Turian. I don't know.
But she can equip human armor.
True.
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
I see a lot of this as just like, they're just BioWare was lazy, but I think the Asari are one of the most interesting races, besides the Quarians, to me, in like a cultural and theoretical standpoint. Like, there is this one Asari, the Consort, I believe is what she is called. People equate to her as a prostitute, but in Asari culture, it's way, way more different than that. It's like they can't comprehend something that's easily comprehensible in Asari culture, and I think that's really interesting.
So for the design thing, I don't know, I think they look cool.
I like their antenna. Their, like, fish head antenna thing that looks like hair. I think that's really rad.
Yeah, there's a little bit more going on than blue humans, unless they have that facial stuff sometimes.
Fun fact, Liara is the only one that has eyebrows.
Ooh. And also their whole culture is interesting. It's the one time where a matriarchy actually makes sense. Ha 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 ha.
Ha 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 ha, funny punny joke.
But, yeah, to the Asari, sex is more than just, haha, showing my private parts and stimulating the funny bits. It's like you're in sync with the universe when you're together.
It's a very autistic way of looking at it, but at the very same time, that's very much how an autistic person would perceive stuff like that.
Which fits because Liara is an autistic icon.
Yeah, it's very clear she's an autist, like her intense interest in Protheans and their history and their tech, to her emotional range, because she's very, I wouldn't say emotionless, but she's very, what's the right word?
Apathetic?
I guess. Nah.
That's the closest term that I can think of.
It's hard for her to convey emotions, like how it usually is for an autist.
And sometimes she would talk about something on, and then she's like, oh, excuse me, that was inappropriate of me. Or, oh, I must have gone on for way too long.
She's like, oh no, I got excited. Sorry.
And, she's very self-conscious about herself, which is also very autistic.
Yeah. Liara gets a bit of a change in Mass Effects 2 and 3.
Aww. Is she still autistic?
I don't want to get into too much because it goes into the DLC of that game.
Mm-hmm.
So, you'll find out when you get to Mass Effect 2.
Okay.
Now, since we've talked about the lovely blue lady and her quirks and how cute she is, let's talk about Virmire and Ilos.
The two most important planets in the entire game.
Oh boy, here we go. Okay, so we'll talk about Virmire. One of my personal favorite things about the planet is that, I don't know if you noticed, you can see a big old storm in the background, and it's kind of metaphorical for what the fuck is about to happen on that planet, as it slowly draws in closer and closer and closer, and you're like, oh fuck, shit's about to get serious. And shit does get very serious. Namely, we're gonna talk about Rex again. If you do not do his quest, or you do not have high enough charm paragon points, he will die. He will die here. You will not be able to talk him down, and he will die. My recommendation is do not get him killed.
I didn't want to lose Grandpa, so I was like, no, you're living with me.
Do not get Rex killed. in the moment with the writing, I think that is where the writing gets really strong for Mass Effect 1. It's because he so desperately wants to help his people. He cares about them. He just makes it seem like he doesn't, but he truly wants to help his people. And that's why I think Rex is the one that should stay alive and lead the Krogan, unlike his dickhead of a brother, who we don't talk about. He's a dickhead. Enough said. Now, I'm going to assume that the both of you let Rex live.
Yes.
We did.
Very, very good, very good. On the brief subject of Rex and his armor, in Krogan culture, turning on your kin the way that his father did is very, very frowned upon. So I'm pretty sure if Rex ever has children, I'm pretty sure he's not going to do what his father did. I'm pretty sure he's going to raise them fucking frog babies like, you're going to be strong like Shepard and me. Understand? That's actually a cute thought to think about. That's kind of adorable.
You see that bitch? That human there is stronger than most Krogan put into one.
She's got a quad.
She has a quadgina.
You have a quad human. Oh my god, that's nightmare. That's nightmare. I still find it very strange that Vermeer is probably one of the most aesthetically pleasing planets that you see.
It looks like a goddamn island beach. I love it.
It kind of reminds me of the silent cartographer from the first Halo.
Yeah, now that you mention it, I can see that. And maybe it also helps that I just love island beach settings. Like, I was born near kind of like a beach area, so I'm naturally into that kind of aesthetic.
I wouldn't call it like a double entendre, but I think it's kind of like you see like the storm in the background and the fact that this place looks so pretty and peaceful, and then you actually go into the heart of the island and you're like, oh, everything's fucked up. So, we've talked about the breeding facility and why Saren's a bitch, and we talked about saving Rex. Now, the other big thing, besides the next big thing, we're going to talk about Sovereign for a hot minute here. The Reaper, the flagship that Saren has been riding in. Turns out it's not a flagship, and it's alive.
It is a Lovecraftian cuttlefish.
Space cuttlefish.
Cuttlefish.
Who's there to be like, we're gonna kill you all. We're gonna just kill you all. Shepard. But why? Sovereign. Because I said so. That's literally that entire conversation. It's just, why do you want to kill us? Because I said so.
Our motivations are beyond your comprehension.
Woo!
Which is convenient for the writers.
Woo! Spooky! Oh god. Mass Effect 2 and 3 do try and save that entire point, but I'll talk about that when you guys have done those two games.
I assume it's like harvesting for them.
I personally believe that it's to let the planet, live longer than it should be. I think that's the whole point. It's like, okay, you're an advanced race. We're gonna eat you, and let the baby races who you pick on grow to be advanced, and then we're gonna eat them for breakfast. I think that was the original point, that they weren't going to be malevolent, like, super bad creatures. Like, they were going to be somewhat like a force of good, and then I don't remember exactly what happened, but I think a change of writing teams. I think someone can actually quote me on that if they want to look deeper into that, because I haven't had a chance since I first learned it. But the Reapers were intentionally going to be something completely different, and then stuff happened. I'm not sure what stuff happened, but I think it involves Mass Effect 2, I think. But then again, don't quote me on that, but they're evil cuttlefish, and they want to eat everybody with their feet.
Foot fetishists unite?
Foot fetishists, I guess? How did you feel about Sovereign's voice actor's delivery? Like, I don't know who the voice actor for Sovereign is, but they were so intimidating when I first played the game. Like, I was not expecting to talk to this creature. I didn't even know it was a creature. Like I said, I thought it was just a big old ship. But no, it's alive, and it wants to kill me.
I was like, oh shit, the gears in the plot are turning.
You just hear the microwave, ding! And you're like, oh, that's what that means.
So that's what those visions were.
Oh, so that's where those creepy zombies that run stupidly were attacking me for. Oh, that's what that was.
God, those things are creepy as fuck.
Yeah, the husks. Oh, they're ugly. They're ugly as fuck. And they get worse, trust me, they get worse. Now, John, do you have any input to say on Sovereign?
Not really. I like Lovecraft stuff. These fit the bill.
Lovely. And they're huge. I think they're like, if you want to get like a fictional starship map, I think they're actually really big. I think they're bigger than most sci-fi ships. If you think about it, they're like huge. I think they're actually like 23 feet tall or something. I don't know. There's an actual measurement out there somewhere, but Now, the big choice on Vermeer. The biggest choice.
Big choice? This was the easiest choice to ever make. Ashley, you're gonna get fucked.
Now, big choice for me because, one, I completely ignored Ashley's racism because I was an idiot at the time. But when I learned Garrus was romanceable in Mass Effect 2 and I accidentally triggered Kaiden's romance flag, I'm like, fuck. So I had to kill Kaiden. I had to kill him. I felt so bad for him. I was like, oh no, he's kind of cute though. And I'm like, fuck.
Wow. Hopefully no one dates you because it's like, oh, I see someone else that's cute. Well, looks like I have to kill you now. Wait, can we just break up? No, you know too much. You know my evil plans.
You know too much. No, that's why I think the stealth romancing is kind of one of the biggest annoyances in Mass Effect 1. Because what if you want to romance someone in Mass Effect 2 and then you accidentally trigger that flag and you're like, oh.
I just told Kaiden, nah, we're just friends, and he took it like a man.
Yeah, Kaiden's a big boy. He's got his big boy pants on. But yeah, fuck Ashley, I guess. We all left her to blow up.
No,
yeah, I left her to blow up.
Except for me on my first playthrough.
I always let Kaiden blow up just because he didn't really interest me that much. And I hear Ashley stops being racist eventually, so no reason to change it.
She does. I can personally vouch for Ashley's growth, but since I've seen it enough, I'm like, alright, and now my fixed new playthrough, I'm going to see what changes they did to Kaiden. See his growth, so I'm very personally excited for that. And since I romanced him, because I'm a fucking idiot, we'll see how that goes. Then again, I already romanced Garrus when I played through the Legendary Edition, so I think I'm good. I mean, it's better to try new things, right? Shrug, I guess. So yeah, how'd you feel about the writing on that scene? One of the biggest moral choices that you could probably make if you're in that position. Like, you've got two members of your crew who are separated so far from each other that you only had to pick one. I personally think that's where the writing was the strongest. Because it's written in such a way like, oh, can we go get them? Can we go turn around and get them? And then Kaiden's like, I'm activating the bomb. And you're just like, we could have gone back and got you. I think Kaiden being an idiot and activating the bomb early is a little bit flawed in the plan. Like, we could have gone back and saved you, buddy.
If the writing was stronger for both characters, that scene would have landed harder. But Ashley's a racist, and the only reason I cared about her at all was because she was my male Shep's love interest. Because I was an Xbox 360 dude, bro. So, just like by default, I go for the girl because I want that pussy later on in the game. But now I play as a xenophilic lesbian femshep. So this all meant nothing to me.
I felt a little bad for Kaiden afterwards. I even talked to everyone, because after every major story mission, I always talk with my crew just to see how they're doing, maybe learn some stuff about them.
That is BioWare tradition, that after every big mission you talk to people, like, it's been in Dragon Age, it's been in Mass Effect. KOTOR, yes. Baldur's Gate, no.
And oddly enough, that was some of the most fun I had with the game, was just talking with my crew.
Yeah, the person you save gets real big survivor's guilt on you, because, like, it should have been me, I should have been, even me saving Kaiden and me romancing him, I think is actually pretty sweet, because my Shepherd's like, I need you to be strong. I need you to be strong for me and the crew, okay? And he's like, I'll do so, Commander. But it's still, he was so upset that I left Ashley to die. Like, it's just, I actually think romancing Kaiden, yeah, he's a piece of toast, but I think through Shepard, I think he actually becomes a little bit more of a developed character, but I'll see more when I play through Mass Effect 2 again. But, he's so upset, you left Ashley there, and, he kind of sounds like they're questioning your decision depending on who you saved, and Shepard's like, I left someone to die that day, and I didn't make that decision lightly, and that's actually brought up in Mass Effect 2, and I think it's very powerful.
I didn't make the decision lightly. That's funny.
I just picture John and Hub just holding a tiny Kaiden and Ashley in their hands, and just yeets Ashley into the bin.
Or Kaiden in my case, just because of inertia from previous playthroughs, I wouldn't give a shit either way. Hell, if I had a choice, I would have both of them die.
Kaiden, fortify the fort in case Ashley decides to fuck up.
Kaiden, use your big brain to make a big brain force field to stop Ashley from doing stupid shit. Now, we move on to the final planet of the game, before the final thing of the game. Ilos, a former Prothean planet, which has been completely scavenged by scavengers, and surprisingly was attacked by the Reapers, but when you go through there, it's so creepy, and everything is overgrown. It's like the ghosts live there, still haunt the place.
There's statues. I don't know if they're statues, but they remind me of the H.R. Geiger space jockey from Alien. I think they're like fossilized Protheans.
Yeah. I think it's like them being like twisted against their own will, because that's what Reapers do. I think it's like a personification of that, but that's my personal thing on that, about that. I still think this planet, or these sets of rooms, I'm gonna call it, is a little bit shorter than any other planet that you've been on. It feels a little bit shorter to me.
Well, sure, it's the grand finale of the game. If it was too long, it'll be like, come on, this climax is taking too long.
Eggman Land!
Yeah, Eggman Land.
Yeah, like, stop edging me, just let me come already, please.
Liara, let me come in your already.
The truth. The Reapers are big sentient machines that harvest all organic life. Like, that's kind of, like, shocking.
Yeah, and they do this, like, every, 50,000 years or some shit?
Yeah, 50,000 years. They do it every 50,000 years, and that's kind of like, wow. They literally wait in dark space, just vibing for 50,000 years. What do they do for 50,000 years? Did they play Uno?
They manipulate retards like Saren into doing their work.
While playing Uno. That's why Sovereign's out there doing shit, because he lost Uno.
Yes, Sovereign drew the short straw, and he was left behind while everyone else went into dark space.
He was like, fuck you! Why am I here? Why do I gotta do this? Let me back in! No, bitch, you lost. You draw the short straw. This is what you gotta do. Goodbye! It just fades into the distance. But still, I think the emotional pacing of that corrupted VI that tells you that they cannot be stopped just sends a chill. Like, it gave me chills when I first played the game. I'm like, oh, fuck. We're gonna die. All of us are gonna die. Maybe Saren was right. Maybe he was right. That was my thinking process. Like, oh my god, maybe he was right.
Nah, he's still a piece of shit.
He is a piece of shit, yes. He's definitely a piece of shit.
I remember before I left, because I didn't ask everything, Tally was like, but Shepard, if we leave now, we'll never know everything. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to learn more about the Protheans and the Reapers. And I was like, fine, I'll do it for you.
That's adorable.
Yeah.
Tally's like, Dad, or Mom, can we learn? Can we stay and learn? Please? And you're just like, stop being so cute!
Tally's that one kid in school that would remind the teacher about homework to turn in. To everyone's fucking dismay.
And everyone's dismay's like, Tally, no!
Tally, no!
Tally, no! Cat, no! Vigil. This is where I bring up the music of the game, because the Vigil theme is my personal favorite theme in the entire series, and it comes back. It is like you hear the VI speak, and his name is Vigil, and it's like he has the information that is the last hope to stop the Reapers from getting in. Like, that theme, it gives me chills, man. Every time I hear it, and even talking about it, I'm getting chills. Like, that score is so strong. It resonates deeply with me, and I adore that track on that planet so goddamn much. It even plays on the title screen when you're getting ready to load into the game. It's so good.
The last act of the Protheans was to give future generations, future species, a small chance of repelling the Reapers. That's incredible.
Yeah, still rip all those scientists that got fucking killed because Vigil needed power, though.
Oof, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, apparently the good option is to scold Vigil for doing that, but I'm like, that makes sense to me, because, you know, if you're facing extinction, yeah, you're gonna have to do some bad stuff.
Extinction takes a long time, as he says. It takes the extinction of an entire race just takes a goddamn long time. So I love the music in that place. I love that theme in particular. It does represent hope in the franchise, because you'll hear it more and more throughout the franchise, especially in Mass Effect 3. You'll hear it a lot. And every time I hear it, I get this wave of nostalgia, and
this feeling of hope, and it's very powerful. It's very strong for a musical piece, and like, I barely remember any of the musical pieces in Mass Effect 1 because my brain is just like focusing on lore and shit like that, but that theme will stick with me for the rest of my life. And it's on my gym playlist.
Nice.
Now, how are we feeling about that conduit that is literally a tiny mass relay that goes into the Citadel? It is literally a tiny fucking relay. It's a pocket relay. You can put it in your pocket. Pocket relay. Pocket sand.
It's a fucking capsule core relay. God damn it, the Capsule Corporation was behind it the whole time.
Bulma?
Woman, what are you doing? Oh, I'm just making mini mass relays.
Why was the relay one way?
It's a back door.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Vigil says the conduit is a back door to the Citadel.
What I thought was funny was that it was hidden in plain sight.
Yeah, it was there the whole time and nobody noticed.
They just thought it was a statue dedicated to the mass relays.
Nope, it's a key. It's a key to the ignition.
It's an actual mass relay.
This is a good opportunity to talk about the Mako a little bit more. I got stuck trying to get to the conduit. I literally got stuck in a corner and I couldn't get out.
No! The jank is working against me! No!
I was like, oh no, I'm stuck. I'm pushing all the buttons. And then somehow I glitched through the wall to get back to the path.
I love you, Space Buggy.
We love the space buggy. But, like, that was so inopportune time. Like, there's this Geth Rocketeer sitting behind me shooting missiles at me, and I'm stuck in this corner, and then I basically went, pop right back into existence. Oh, boy. Oh, God. That's hilarious.
And now we have our final major topic, and oh boy, I've been waiting to talk about this motherfucker for the entire fucking podcast. As soon as Force brought up the idea of doing a podcast on the Mass Effect trilogy, at least for Mass Effect 1, I've been wanting to talk about this son of a bitch because, oh boy, do I fucking hate him, and I kinda love that I hate him. We're gonna be talking about fucking Saren, the most evil motherfucker in the game.
Oh boy, Saren.
Was he old?
Yes, he was always a scumbag.
Okay, because I was going to say, like, when did he hook up with Sovereign? Because apparently he sabotaged Anderson's chances of becoming a Spectre.
I believe it's the end of the novelization of the backstory for Saren is when he actually finds Sovereign. And I personally haven't read the novel myself. However, I did read one of the comics that I have in my book, and I met his brother, and his brother's a piece of shit, so it literally runs in the family that they're all pieces of shit.
Oof. No hope for this family.
No, the Arcturus family is very stupid.
So, if there's one thing this game is really good at doing, it's letting you know that Saren is a fucking scumbag. They mentioned everything's his fault. They mentioned that he is fucking up the entire galaxy. They mentioned how much of an evil piece of shit he is. Fuck, they even show you within the first 15 minutes. He kills Nihilus so casually.
And in cold blood.
It's like, holy shit, dude, you are an asshole.
And apparently he is an investor in a corporation, which automatically makes him evil, according to base Twitter lefties.
Oh boy, Saren is so much of a scumbag, and I think it's actually in the same book, but he's in a bar. Because Saren, surprise, surprise, is a Spectre, so he literally gets away with everything because the council loves me, ooh. He's in a bar, and there's this Batarian patron. And he asks, in this particular bar, you can ask for, I will say escorts, because that's pretty much what they are, for a company. Now, of course, you gotta pay a fee, because they're literally making money, cash money to pay the bills. And he wanted a human lady for the night. And a lot of people in that bar were really uncomfortable, because they were literally gonna know what was gonna happen to that poor girl. You know what Saren did? He fucking killed him! Saren literally just killed this bitch! Just straight up, like, pop!
I mean, her life already sucked. I mean, otherwise she wouldn't have been an escort. She's on hard economic times, and Saren just decides to...
I love how we all just collectively agree that we do not like Saren.
No, I love to hate this man. I love to hate this guy.
I was conflicted about him because he was being brainwashed by Sovereign. And so I thought, okay, maybe that's why he's an asshole. But apparently, if he was an asshole before Sovereign, then, like, fuck him. Serves you right.
I also want to point out, in that particular comic, it's heavily implied that Saren was indoctrinated before he met Sovereign.
Oh.
Which is really fucking wild to think about. And I'm bringing this up because this also ties into a character in Mass Effect 2, and I'll bring him up when we see him. Like, he fucking murdered his brother in cold blood via explosion. I mean, his brother was a dick. His brother did shitty things. And literally sent almost thousands of Turians to their huskified demise. So Saren literally said, well, fuck this, I'm gonna nuke you to hell! Literally blew up his brother. Whatever hope of redemption Saren had, I'm glad he shot himself in the head, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, so my brother, he needed my PS4 real quick for something earlier. And he didn't know I got Mass Effect, and he's like, did you bully Saren? And I'm like, you can bully him? I'm like, yeah, you can bully him into shooting himself. And I'm like, holy shit, I didn't know that. I just talked him out of it, he shot himself anyway. I didn't know you could bully him.
Did you bully him?
I assume that's their Renegade stuff.
I'm assuming it's Renegade, just like you're a fucking piece of shit, kill yourself. Saren, okay, pop. Holy fuck, you can bully him?
Also, he has a glider donated to him by Oscorp.
Yes, the Green Goblin glider. He's going to terrorize Spider-Man.
Out! Am I?
Well, he was going to terrorize Spider-Man, but now we don't have to worry about that because he fucking shot himself in the head. Or at least we thought we didn't have to worry about that. But then he, like, fucking contorts and shit, and I was like, what the fuck is happening here? Because you didn't tell me about this. You didn't tell me that Saren would just fucking turn into, like, whatever the fuck he turned into.
No, I left that as a surprise, because it was surprising to me, because I
was like, what the fuck?
Alright, so you think that since Microsoft was publishing this game, they're like, because apparently the game was delayed so they could revamp the combat to not be as shitty. It was still shitty, and even when they improved it for the Legendary Edition, it's still shitty, just not as shitty. But believe it or not, it could have been worse.
Oh my god, I don't want to think about that. Oh my god, it's Kingdom Hearts 1 all over again.
Oh god, please no.
I imagine Microsoft was also like, hey, I know you're doing something innovative by having you use your dialogue wheel to convince the final boss to end themselves. That's all cool, but can you add a conventional final boss undermining your whole design? And BioWare was like, fine, you're the one cashing the checks. Fucking god damn it.
Yeah, the final boss, I hated the final boss because there's an enemy in Mass Effect 1 that I despise. They're called Geth Stalkers. They're like these little spider frog creatures that are bouncing off the walls and can have you inflict status effects like overheating your weapon or poisoning you. And then the whole final boss is just a glorified reskin of that, and I'm like, fuck you, game. Fuck you.
The game literally had to make Saren more shitty.
Yeah, they had to make me hate this dude even more. I'm like, god damn, I already hated him. You don't have to make me hate him more.
Fun fact about the Geth Stalkers and the Geth Ghosts, they are dropped. You do not see them anymore after Mass Effect 1.
Thank god, I hated those things.
They got complaints like, they don't like these. Okay. But yes, I left that as a surprise because it shocked me too, because surprise, surprise, Sovereign's like, oh, hippity hoppity, your corpse is my property.
What's the in-lore reason for why there's no more stalkers?
I think they all got exploded, I think.
You know what? That's good enough.
I think there is an in-lore reason somewhere, I just haven't managed to find it yet. I know we're now on the subject of the Geth, but Geth Juggernauts. Who made them? And I know the Quarians made them, but which Quarian scientist decided to make them thick as fuck?
That's what I asked when I fought the Geth Prime.
Did you see his fucking cheeks and how thick they were?
They were extra thick.
Another fun fact about Saren, the way that he looks is not the way he was intended to look in the final product. That was supposed to be when you did finally see him on the Citadel. You know, why he's got all the wires and tubes and shit, but they didn't have enough time to finish his base model, so that's what they had to go with. BioWare is infamous for having things cut for time, because they didn't have enough time. Or Fox News said, don't do it. This is why Dragon Age Inquisition is a better game in regards to romance, because they literally remembered, hey, we can use camera angles to censor nipples now. They actually remembered that they could do that. Oh boy. Saren, scumbag of the universe. And we're glad he's dead.
He is one of the greatest love-to-hate them villains I've seen in a while. Like I just love to hate this guy.
Oh, excuse me. Sorry, that burp was filled with my hatred for Saren.
Yeah. I don't think Saren, I know you could make the argument that he believed he was doing the right thing, but I don't know, man. He's kind of a scumbag already.
Yeah, he's literally a scumbag.
And even if the game wanted me to believe that, they spend so much time saying, no, Saren is a fucking scumbag, and you should hate him, for me to really consider the idea that maybe he has a point. I'm like, fuck you. He doesn't have any point.
I do not hold sympathy for Saren, because I think the game came before the comics and the books, and that's why there's a little bit of conflict in the writing. Then again, this usually what happens when you want to expand tie-ins in your games and stuff like that, so I won't fault the writers for that. But if I didn't know he was a scumbag beforehand, and he said, we can't stop this, not forever, I would have been like, oh yeah, I hold some sympathy for you, but no, you're a piece of shit. Be gone, ho! Does anyone else have any thoughts about Saren and how much of a shit that he is, or? Oh, God.
No, I think that's everything we need to say about Saren. It just felt good to say how much I hated him.
I think everyone could agree that nobody likes Saren. There might be this rare Saren fuckers out there somewhere, and I think there are Saren fuckers out there. Trust me.
The cult of Saren sounds something I never want to know about.
Oh, God. Now we will move on to the themes and our final thoughts on Mass Effect 1, the first in the trilogy.
So what are we, some Guardians of the Galaxy?
Kind of, yes. We are kind of the Guardians of the Galaxy, aka the best found family trope in the history of found family tropes.
What are we, some kind of Mass Effect?
Yeah, right.
Once again, I will bring this up. One of my favorite interactions is with Engineer Adams and with Tally. And he's just like, no, I'm really appreciative for her help. And that's literally why I love this group so goddamn much, is that they're filled with misfits, people that have issues. It's just, I love them. I adore them. I adore this little fucking group. Rex and his deep love for his people.
Garrus' moral ambiguity.
Liara's autism.
Yeah.
Ashley's racism, Joker powering through his disability, Kaiden's, Dr. Chakwaz's compassion for her patients.
That actually does come back in Mass Effect 2, and it does tie into Joker, so I'll actually bring this up a little bit. You can see her again, and she's like, you ask her, why are you here? You could be anywhere you need to be, and she's like, because I feel needed here. And also, Joker wouldn't take his medication if I wasn't there to remind him. And I think that's really cute and sweet. She has no children. She's been single all her life, and I think she's like the little mother hen to this entire group of misfits, and it's really cute, and I actually might start crying, holy fuck. Oh boy, holy hell, you guys will probably be crying with me. Holy fuck.
We expect to see more emotions from Maddie in Mass Effect 2 and 3, for sure.
So how do we feel about the first game? Even though it's got first game syndrome.
I don't like the first Mass Effect as an overall game as far as combat's concerned, but I was surprised how engrossed in the characters and story I was. I was very surprised. I was like, holy shit, I fucking love this group of misfits. I love hating Saren. I love being a beacon of hope for the galaxy and shit. I was like, wow. The best way I could describe it is that the experience is greater than the sum of its parts with the first game.
Yes. John, how do we feel about the first game in the trilogy?
When I first played this as an Xbox 360 dude bro, I had a lot of fun. It was one of the times where I was really awe-inspired by a video game. Now, unfortunately, that magic kind of wore off as I replayed it, and I tried to match up with my same playstyle the first time. But now that I decided to mix that up and have my new Shepard reflect my current tastes and interests, and with the extra polish and gameplay tweaks of the Legendary Edition, it's like playing the game for the first time again. And it's very rare when you can do that with something. And it was a great experience to go through it again.
I hope that this enthusiasm will continue your efforts to play the next two games. And I know Mass Effect 2 and 3 are very beefy. 3 especially is really beefy. But I really hope I continue to see more enthusiasm and appreciation for a series that I adore with my entire heart and soul. It makes me very happy that you guys enjoyed the first game as much as I did.
Yeah, we're definitely going to play through Mass Effect 2 and 3, but we have other obligations currently. I got to catch up with Ruby, Hub. After we watch Volume 7, we're going to get back into finishing off the Metal Gear series. He only has like 2 games left.
Yeah, and then I think after Metal Gear Solid 5, I would jump into Mass Effect 2 immediately, because you said it's a beefy game, but trust me, Maddie, you will know when I start Mass Effect 2, because I'll probably make some comment about how much I love Tali.
Tally's really good. Oh boy, I'm having a lot of fun, but I hope that when you guys get to play Mass Effect 2, you'll have a lot of fun as I will. And if you need any tips, just let me know. I will be able to lead a little guiding hand to my little tiny shepherds. I'm the big shepherd. You're the little shepherds. I'm guiding you. You're like my little sheepies. I'm guiding you. I am just really proud of you guys, and I'm really glad to be here on the show. It's my first time doing something like this, so I hope I didn't fuck it up.
No, you did great.
You did great. We had a lot of fun talking with you.
Oh, thank you.
And I'm looking forward to having you on for future episodes. And with that, you've been listening to Maddie Effect, the show all about xenophilic lesbians in space. I'm ForceWave.
And I'm HubPie, and romancing a story is the only acceptable option, unless you're into Turians or Quarians.
Oh, hell yeah, Turians. That shit's my jam.
Maddie, you want to plug in your stuff again?
Yes, you can find me on Lombax Lombardi on Tumblr. That's where I usually am, where I post all of my art. Be very aware, though, it's self-ship art, so the cringe is dead. Cringe is long dead. And I hope to see you guys back again when we go to Mass Effect 2.
Have a nice day.
Goodbye.
See ya!